Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing the top 10 worst volumes to build a basin. And before I get started, I just want to say that this list is no specific order, and make sure to go in the description and click my Discord because you can join it for free. Okay, anyway, without further ado, let's get started with number 10 being the Badlands, which is right here behind me with the red sand and the terracotta. Now, the reason why this is a horrible place is because, one, it's just completely ugly. Like, the grass is ugly, the trees look dead, and there's dead bushes all over. But the second reason is there's not a single source of life around the area. Like, I don't see a single sheep or a single anything. I mean, the closest thing we have to life is literally over in the ocean with this cod, and yeah, it's not really a thing that I like thinking about. And not only that, but they're huge. They're just way too massive. So yeah, it's just a horrible place to build. So anyway, let's move on. Alright, so number 9 is the frozen ocean. Here's why. Because yes, if you wanted to build an ocean base, that's not bad. But if you're gonna build here, the problem is, as you can see, these icebergs are just jumping into the ground randomly, so it makes it really kind of difficult to build a base. And the second thing is, let's just say I did build a base right here, because it's the deepest part. I mean, it would just have trouble surfacing back up to land without running into an iceberg. And if I did, well then you have to clear it out just to, so you can, get on a flat spot. And if you really, really wanted to build on top of the ice, well, I mean, that's not really practical because you got these hills all over, and yes, it is relatively flat, but also, I mean, come on, you have blue ice. Why would you want to waste your time mining that because you want to flatten it out rather than actually using it? I don't understand, but okay. And plus the polar bears, which I don't know why you'd want to kill them, but it's like, that's so stupid if you kill them. You're an animal cruelty guy. Anyways, moving on to the next one. Alright, so you might be wondering what number 8 is, and it is the desert. Now, I kinda do like the desert, but I know a lot of people don't, so that's kinda why I put it on the list, because, one, obviously, there's no life. I mean, do you see any cows, sheep, anything? No. And, two, it's just like, it's just so empty. There's nothing here. It is, though, quite flat, so, I mean, I can see why people build here if you do, but there's really nothing to do here. Like, it's just a pain, to mine because you have to go through sand, and like, as you can see, if a creeper explodes, you fall, and you could die from that. Like, there's just floating sand all over, so, mining sand can be risky, and it really is pretty empty, so it is just kind of a boring place to be. But anyways, let's move on to the next one. Alright, so the next one is the Acacia Hills, which is right here, because while the Acacia is not the best looking place ever, it is, somewhat decent because it's somewhat flat, it has trees, but, I mean, the Acacia Hills, oh my god, no, no, no. The problem with these is that there's less trees, and you're really high up off the ground, and getting up there is not really exactly the definition of easy. I mean, this one is kind of actually on the easier side to get up, but usually they're a lot harder to get up and are way more frustrating to get up. And in reality, that's just a useless idea to build your house up here, when you could just build your house down here, where it's literally flat, and it's easy to get to. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Alright, so number 6 is the ice spikes. Now, I just have to say something. These are extremely rare, so that's probably the only reason why you would want to build here. Because, I mean, do you really want to live in an area with just a bunch of random generated spikes coming out of the ground? And it's way worse than this snowy biome because it snows on top of it. And it has the spikes. So there's two annoyances in one place. Because one, there's random generated spikes, which you have to destroy to make a, relatively flat spot to even build. And the second thing is the snow builds on top of everything you put down, so it just gets annoying. And, yeah, that's kind of why it's a really not good location at all to build. But I do admit that it is rare, so finding one of these, you're lucky. Definitely really lucky. So, yeah. Anyways, let's move on to number 5. you might be wondering, what is number 5? Well, the answer is a mushroom biome. Now, the mushroom biome, it just consists of mushroom cows, which are basically like normal cows, so not really special. These big mushrooms, which kind of are ugly looking, but okay. Ugly looking grass, and an island in the middle of nowhere. And if you add it all up, basically it just is an island that's really ugly compared to that desert looking forest area. It's way uglier than any other island that can spawn in the game, and has less interesting creatures that spawn here in the first place. It's just, yeah, horrible place to build. Don't recommend doing it unless you're doing a challenge where you want to just be in the middle of nowhere. Anyways, let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is the dark oak forest, and that is just because, I mean, one, it is super not flat. Like, I try walking around here, and the ground just goes up and down, as you can see. And not only that, but the trees are super thick, which results in them being hard to mine down. Like, even on creative, it's not easy to mine them down because, I mean, yeah, that's just how it is. And this is at me at full speed. And there's multiple of these trees constantly all over the place. And not only that, but the leaves are so thick that mobs can spawn underneath them, which means constantly being attacked by creepers, and it's just really annoying. And that's really the main reasons, because, yeah, that's really it. I mean, the wood's okay, everything else is about it's okay. And, yeah, let's move on to the next one. Number 3 is jungles. Now, I mean, I just look around, and all I see is leaves, trees, vines, more leaves. That's basically it. What does this mean? It's really hard to build. I mean, if you really want to build your traditional wood house, it is somewhat flat, and the grass looks beautiful, but the amount of leaves and logs and just trees you have to destroy to even get a good-looking base put down in a flat location is really difficult. Not only that, but just like the dark oak forest, there's just mobs everywhere that just spawn throughout the day. And it's because of the shades that, you know, these big trees leave. And it just results in you being killed a lot, and yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, you might want to build a treehouse, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, look at these trees. There's just vines everywhere. You'd have to clear all these vines, and like, it's just not something I don't think a lot of people are willing to do. And if you are willing to do it, you will get a good result. It's just you have to put way more work than you should have to for a base. Number 2 is right behind me. No, it's not the plains. It's the river. Now, this is a way smaller version of the actual thing, but this is the worst. I mean, if you really want to build in a river, I really don't understand why. Because they're not really deep, so you can't build an underwater house, and they have water, so you can't, you know, just build underground underneath them, because then water might leak into your base. And if you want to build on top of them, I mean, the grass just does not look as good as, you know, this better looking grass right here in the plains. It just, there's nothing good about it. And plus, if you really like this grass for whatever reason from the river, which this grass has not really changed, so it doesn't really help, but usually the grass starts getting a really dark shade and dull, but whatever. Even if you did want to, you know, flatten out a river, you have to sit here and do this for like hours, because look at how much river there is. And yeah, they're way longer usually. That's like the closest one I could find, so yeah, but this one would take hours. I mean, no, probably not. It'd probably take about like 1 hour or so, but even then, that's kind of annoying. Just to build across to this to make it look better? No, that's not really worth it. Anyways, let's go on to number 1. Okay, so number 1, probably the worst of the worst, if I'm being honest, is the gravel mountains. And, I mean, just look at this. I don't even know where to get started. First off, gravel has not the best texture in the game. I mean, it looks okay, but when you look at it like this, it's just too much to look at. It's just, oh, it hurts my eyes. And the other thing is like, mountains to begin with are not the best place to build. So this is like the worst version of a mountain you could possibly build on. Because one, mountains, yeah, they usually, they're really high up, so you have to like, climb up them constantly, which is okay, I guess. And, the grass is not the best looking color. There's just a lot of stone everywhere and dirt just everywhere, and it just doesn't look pleasant. But with the gravel on top of it, oh, it's just horrible. It really is. And, like, yeah, there's really no reason why you should build on this rather than a normal mountain. And if you're even building on mountains, I don't know what to say to you, because, yeah, you shouldn't. But building on this is, like, 100% worse. I would really consider rethinking this if you want to build your base here. And just my other point I just want to point out is, like, if you look, this mountain's so high up that if you wanted to go diamond mining, like, okay, let's just say you built up right here because you thought it was cool. This is layer 90, so you're over about 80 blocks away from like diamond layers. How is that even something you'd want to do? You're basically going to mine extra blocks down and find less good things and just have a harder time finding diamonds because you're going to have to find, well, like, just getting to that layer would be so difficult. So yeah, that's really annoying. Anyways, so hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, then I don't know. So yeah, that's great. But anyways, yeah, don't build in these locations. If you do, well, then just be aware that it will be horrible and you will regret everything about these locations. Now, I just also want to admit that I mean, there's nothing wrong with you if you do build with them. It's just not the best idea, and I recommend don't doing it. But again, if you do it, congrats on you. You're doing something most people probably won't do ever. Okay, anyways, goodbye.